Love and peace to you. This is a verbal discourse on our Welt Ethos. My name is Peter Johansson Osisi, and I work with Arasona Ashram. So, this is an introduction to teachings from Buddhism regarding the seventh principle, principle numero siete, of our Welt Ethos, that principle being Hygge. So, within Buddhism, the Buddha is an ascetic. He renounces the household life and lives a life of monasticism. And that's what he teaches directly, explicitly, continually, repeatedly. And so the Buddha teaches that um, the family life is fraught with trappings that make it difficult to cultivate spiritual awareness, intentionality, discipline, and modesty. It requires negotiation, jumping through hoops and ladders, pleasing relatives, pleasing superiors, and pleasing spouses and children, and additionally. And all of this compromises one's concentration and dedication towards universal compassion and even modesty and uh, uh, even the practice of samadhi and the leading of an austere, simple life. Um, so this first passage addresses the tendency of judgment, of ranking each other according to family, according to the pedigree that we each have, and particularly with respect to being married and arranging marriages between individuals, between families, and the hierarchy that's established in determining whether one family is worthy of another family, and the intrinsic contention and even transgression and harm and suffering that's experienced within this hierarchy and the further extending implications and consequences and ramifications of these hierarchies. So this is the passage from the Digha Nikaya, the Ambata Sutta, chapter 2, chapter 2, verse 1. In the supreme perfection in wisdom and righteousness, Ambata, there is no reference to the question either of birth or of lineage or of the pride which says, you are held as worthy as I, or you are not held as worthy as I. It is where the talk is of marrying and of giving in marriage that reference is made to such things as that. For whosoever, Ambata, are in bondage to the notions of birth or of lineage, or of the pride of social position, or of connection by marriage, they are far from the best wisdom and righteousness. It is only by having got rid of all such bondage that one can realize for himself that supreme perfection in wisdom and in conduct. So, the Buddha is very the Buddha is very plain about his concerns regarding the household life, and the limitations that he describes within the household life. This is further conveyed within the Samanya Phala Sutta, chapter 41, chapter 41. Full of hindrance is household life, a path for the dust of passion. Free as the air is the life of him who has renounced all worldly things. How difficult it is for the man who dwells at home to live the higher life in all its fullness, in all its purity, in all its bright perfection. Let me then cut off my hair and beard, let me clothe myself in the orange-colored robes, and let me go forth from the household life into the homeless state. That is the Samanya Phala Sutta 41, verse 41. So the Buddha is actually conveying a parable or uh, essentially a parable through that passage, and that is an excerpt from that parable. So he's the narrator. So it's his quote, but he's actually narrating the dialogue of a character in that parable. But the message that is conveyed is essentially a message that the Buddha teaches regarding the household life. So, with that being said, there is the consideration that the Buddha actually, within his temporal life, is a father himself, is a far himself. He originally leads the household life. He is a prince in life, and he is married. He has a son, but he renounces that. So his example is somewhat there's a duality within his example, and so um, to say to consider the Buddha considering household life as antithetical to Buddhism and the practice of Buddhism is erroneous. Um, the household life and family life and having children and being married, not in that order, being married and having children, um, coexist and coincide with the teachings of the Buddha. He simply communicates the challenges that exist within the household life and the benefits that exist within the monastic life. And indeed, he is able to appreciate um, the relationships that individuals have with each other, the familial relationships that he has. He even references his own um, familial caste and belonging to his family's caste, even as the Buddha, even after attaining enlightenment. And indeed, his family caste is utilized as a premise for many of the dialogues that are included within the Digha Nikaya. So even with that, those familial ties continue after the Buddha's enlightenment. And so one one passage that depicts this appreciation for the affection that is maintained between family members, and the Buddha's sensitivity to that, and even support of that, is included within the Samannaphala Sutta, where a king approaches the Buddha to seek guidance, and makes reference about his son, and the Buddha asks about his son. So this is the Samannaphala Sutta 10-12, verse 10 through 12. And the king, when close upon the mango grove, was seized with a sudden fear and consternation, and the hairs on his body stood erect. And anxious and excited, he said to Gavaka, "You are playing me no tricks, Gavaka. You are not deceiving me. You are not betraying me to my foes. How can it be that there should be not sound at all, not a sneeze nor a cough, in so large an assembly of the brethren, among 1,250 of the brethren? Fear not, O king. I play no trick nor deceive you, nor would I betray you to the foe. Go on, O king, go straight on. There in the pavilion hall the lamps are burning." Then the king went on his elephant as far as the path was passable for elephants, and then on foot to the door of the pavilion, and then said to Gavaka, "But where, Gavaka, is the blessed one?" "That is he, O king, sitting against the middle pillar and facing the east, with the brethren around him." Then the king went up and stood respectfully on one side, and as he stood there and looked on the assembly, seated in perfect silence, calm as a clear lake, he broke out, "Would that my son Udayabada might have such calm as this assembly of the brethren now has." "Do your thoughts then go where love guides them? I love the boy, and I wish that he, Udayabada, might enjoy such calm as this assembly has." And that is the Samannaphala Sutta 10-12, verse 10 through 12. So the speaker towards the end, the one who asks about "do your thoughts go to where love guides them," that's the Buddha speaking. Um, and so again, it's a matter of having the compassion, the sensitivity, and even the support for the familial relationships, the experience of family, the affection of family, the love and the care that is shared between family members. So those are some teachings from Buddhism regarding the seventh principle, principle numero siete of our Welt Ethos, that principle of Hygge. With that said, Ananda Shanti.